Happy new week, everybody. Monday evening yoga. Let's find a comfortable seat. So we are now up to the 6 of 8 limbs of yoga. A brief overview. First limb, yamas, things that we want to veer away from, like harming. Second limb, niyamas, our own spiritual practices and disciplines. Third limb, asanas, the physical postures that help us to embody presence. The fourth limb, pranayama, which is using different breath techniques to regulate life force through the body. The fifth limb on Saturday was pratyahara, sense withdrawal, turning our attention more inward. So as you can see the pattern, it goes from the external world to a deeper focus onto the inner world as we enter these last 3 limbs, which will dive us deeper into the stages of meditation. So today is Dharana, the 6th limb. And Da is a Sanskrit root word for holding or maintaining, and Ana means something else. So it's also derived from the verbal root dar, which means to bind together or to make stable. So as such, Dharana can be understood as the practice of maintaining focus on something, as a means of making the mind stable and binding body, mind, and spirit together as one. According to Yogapedia website, in an article by Rachel Bilski, by regularly practicing Dharana, we are able to observe the patterns of the mind. Interrupting thoughts become clear, and longer gaps appear between them over time. Dharana enables deep concentration to occur naturally and more frequently, even outside of the practice. Most importantly, there develops a strong awareness that there is a thinker and a witness to the thinking. This is a significant step toward being free from destructive thought patterns as thoughts begin to have less significance, less power, less control. A great teacher of meditation, Dandapani, talks so much about, as children, how many times are we trained to actually learn to concentrate? You might hear parents tell children, concentrate, do your homework, concentrate, but how do you do it? And if we don't learn that preliminary step, how can we sit and think about calming the fluctuations of the mind or observing it? In this fast-paced society that we live in, especially most of us here in LA, being busy is often looked up as, and multitasking then becomes sort of a virtue. But Dharana is quite the opposite of that. In the practice of mindfulness, it's fully submerging yourself with all your senses into the task at hand. So how do we practice doing that? I feel it's a lot about simplifying and committing. So we start the yoga practice setting an intention to really define what we're doing here. Why am I allocating this hour of my evening? And what's going to inspire me to stay attentive to this mind, body, breath practice? So simplifying, and maybe even, well, we do have a timed practice, but if you're doing it on your own, setting a timer, like if it's meditation, setting the timer, defining ahead of time, this is how long I'm going to sit for, practicing, concentrating, and be there. Eliminating distractions, things that might make your mind wander. If you have a to-do list and it's by your yoga mat, maybe put it aside somewhere where you're not tempted to look at it, including the phone or whatever it may be. So setting environments conducive to a one-pointed focus. In daily life, doing one thing fully at a time, that mindfulness, right? So when you're eating, and I definitely have to practice this, right? Not looking at your phone or watching the TV. And it's not necessarily all the time, but when you're choosing to practice Dharana. In a conversation, when we listen to understand the other fully rather than listening to think about how we're going to reply next. Yep, definitely a practice. So at the end of our physical yoga practice and pranayama work, breath techniques, we're going to dive into gazing meditation. If you have an object around you, or please take an object around you. It could even be just a dot that you write on a Post-it, something that will narrow your visual focus to one spot. Please set that aside. I was actually going to use a candle, but I couldn't find the lighter or the matches, so I decided to get an heirloom tomato because I love the color. So find something simple, not intricate, that will make your mind wander off into memories or things like that. And do please put it near your mat somewhere so you can reach for it after Shavasana for our 2-minute gazing meditation. So let's start in a comfortable seat, rooting down to the left and right sides of your pelvis, maybe rocking a little and circling the spine a bit and just feeling out, what does my body need today? Do I need to go a little slower? Do I need to focus on energizing and getting anxiety out through a lot of movement in the beginning so I can be still at the end? And as you root down, more balanced through the pelvis, lift up through your chest, broaden the collarbones. Notice how your neck and shoulders feel right now. Maybe close the eyes. For me, it helps to pay attention to what's going inside. As you let the shoulders soften downward and slightly behind you, begin to take deeper breaths. So thinking of this physical body as the environment that you're making conducive for a one-pointed focus of the mind. Feel the breath in. Even pause at the top of it. Take a moment in that fullness. Then open the mouth, empty it, and pause at the bottom and feel the contrast, the emptiness. Try that a few more times. Practicing patience and watchfulness and attentive to simplicity as we deepen the breath here. And now closing the lips, continue deep breathing through the nose. And you might even like to place your hands on your belly. You're very kinesthetic. And focus on breathing into the belly, expanding it, hollowing it. And either continue to do that, even sustained breaths through the nose, or we're going to prepare for 1 minute of Bhastrika, bellows breath, which is done starting with the elbows bent apart, hands like fists. Inhaling, the arms raised and the fingers spread. Exhaling, the elbows rebend rhythmically, focusing on using the diaphragm with the eyes closed. So we're going to try that for 1 minute. Let's bend the elbows apart, sit tall, relax the shoulders down. Ready? Begin. Full breaths, enlivening the lungs. And relax. Just breathe naturally for a moment with the eyes closed. paying attention. Let's start Ujjayi Pranayama. Slow, even breaths through the nose while softly narrowing the back of your throat. So creating that soft whispering sound allows an anchor to steady the mind's focus on. Especially if you're an auditory learner, that might be helpful. But then feeling the breath brush past the back of the throat adds some kinesthetic modality as you feel that. Even the lungs and belly gently expanding. One more thing, as you set your intention for your practice, you might choose one word or short positive affirmation that can become a mantra. You can repeat it in your mind as you practice, as you flow, re-anchor the mind if the mind's attention wanders. Another way to help practice Dharana. So continue to listen to your breath, and let's come down to all fours, hands and knees. Setting your knees just under your hips, spread your fingers wide and plant your wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders. Pointing the index fingers forward, so we're setting up for downward dog. Rotate your triceps, outer upper arms towards the rear of your mat so that the shoulder blades broaden across the upper back. And then tuck your toes, feet are hips distance or wider apart. Lift the hips high, come into downward facing dog. Now take a moment if you want to pedal your feet out slowly. It can help to warm up the backs of your legs. If you want to add to that, swiveling the hips side to side, that can help to loosen up the lower back as you stretch the outer hips and sides of your torso. Let your head completely hang. So you're relaxing the neck. It might take a moment to, or it might be helpful to shake the head softly. Nod the head a few times. Deep, even breathing. Now give the hands the feeling as if you're pushing the mat away from your feet. As you spread your weight through every fingertip, every knuckle, root down between the thumbs and index. Lift the shoulder blades back. Let your head fall as you see your feet. Now let's hold still for about 3 breaths. The stillness in the postures. Where does the mind go then? Find your focus. Steady the eyes on something. From here, step your feet together to touch in downward dog. Then inhale, raise the right leg behind you. Bend the knee, turn open at the right hip. Keeping the shoulders evenly lifting. Rotate your right thigh a few times in both directions, just warming up the hip joint. Now feel that you're still drawing your left hip back. Doesn't come forward towards the left shoulder. Then extend the right leg behind you and square the hips. Breathe in. Exhaling, step your right foot outside of your right hand. Coming into a lizard lunge. Now as you bend the front knee just over the heel here, look forward and notice the space in your neck. If it feels crowded there, you can either place blocks under your hand, elevate the hands, or lower the back knee. So make your adjustment for this lizard lunge because we're going to prepare to flow. From here, if the back knee's on the floor, lift your right toes, flex the foot, and scissor the right hip back to straighten the leg and fold in a half split. If your left knee is lifted, do straighten the right leg, but seal the sole of your right foot to the ground. So you're in a wide version of pyramid pose. Inhale, return to your lunge. Bend the front knee over the heel. Exhale, scissor the right hip back again. Extend your chest forward as you fold. Let's keep flowing to the breath. Inhale, bend. Exhale, scissor the right hip back. Elongate your spine as you fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, draw the right hip back. Throw the side waist as you fold. One more time. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, right hip back and fold. Now inhale, lunge, step into your version of plank, and let's hold for about 5 breaths. So whether you choose to have your knees on the ground, offering more support, or your legs actively straight, engaging the fronts of your thighs, feel a slight lift in your lower abdomen. Keep broadening the shoulder blades apart. Look forward of your hands and lengthen your neck. Now, just like a push-up, we're not going to go all the way down. We're just going to pause at chaturanga, which is halfway. With an exhalation, glide forward as far as you can before bending the elbows back. Feel your arms hug your side ribs. Keep looking forward, neck long, belly engaged. With an exhale, press up, back to plank. Then lift the pelvis, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Slow exhale through the nose. Relaxing the neck, bring your feet together to touch. Inhale, raise the left leg behind you. Bend that knee and turn open at the hip. Then take a few breaths, rotating your left leg gently at the hip socket, both directions. Feel that both of your shoulders are evenly spaced away from your ears as you're drawing your right outer hip back. Now let's square the hips and straighten the left leg behind you. Breathe in here. Then exhale, slowly step the left foot outside of your left hand. Now, as you see your left knee bent right above the heel, notice the sides of your neck. Do they need more space? If so, use blocks under your hands and or lower your right knee. If your back knee is on the ground, exhale, curl the left toes off the floor and straighten the left leg by drawing the hip back. You're in half split. If the back knee is off the ground, exhale instead, seal the sole of your left foot to the ground and straighten the leg into a wide pyramid pose. Now let's flow. Inhale, rebend the left knee just over the heel. Gaze slightly forward even as you exhale to scissor your left outer hip back and bow inside of the leg. Keep going. Inhale, bend the front knee, still broadening your chest. Exhale, scissor left hip back and fold. Let's take 2 more cycles of breath. Inhale, bend. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, bend. Exhale, scissor and fold. We're gonna exit differently. So come into a lunge, walk your hands over to the right so that you can pivot both feet into a wide-legged forward fold. So parallel the feet facing the wide width of your mat. Adjust your stance so that you can reach the ground easily or have blocks under your hands. As you shift more weight into the balls of your feet, lengthen the crown of your head forward. Feel the belly firm against the back, like plank pose. Now set one hand on the ground or on a block front and center. Raise the opposite hand to face that edge of your mat as you twist at your waistline for a few breaths. Feel a sense of hugging your outer hips towards your midline, helping to keep the lower back still, the hips balanced. And as you breathe out, you're using the side muscles of your waist, your obliques, to continue rotating the rib cage. Now feel the reach of your top fingers towards the sky. Use that to help broaden that side of your chest. As you lengthen through the sides of your neck, take one more inhalation across your wingspan. Then exhale, lower the top hand to the ground or block and switch. Raise the other hand up, palm facing that edge of your mat. Breathe in, keep lengthening your spine forward. Now lift the navel slightly and hug the hips towards the midline so that you keep the pelvis squared as you continue to twist. Rotating the rib cage. Couple more deep breaths. Feel the reach of your top fingers towards the sky, helping to broaden that side of your chest. One more in-breath. From here, lower both hands. Heel toe your feet a little wider than hips distance apart. Keep them parallel and now bend your knees. Reach your hands behind you and interlace your fingers, or you can grab a strap so you have more space between the hands and point the thumbs to the outsides. As you inhale, lift the chest, draw your shoulder blades back, keep the belly firm, hug the elbows closer together, and exhale, fold even more. Let the head go as you continue to lift the arms forward and away from your lower back, with a slight bend in the elbows to help you lift the shoulder bones up and away from your neck. Now feel out your neck. Make sure it's relaxed. You might even softly shake and nod your head again. Is there any tension in the mouth to release? Maybe you fluttered the lips a couple of times. The hamstrings really needing a deeper stretch. Bend one knee a lot and lean towards your straight leg, offering that hamstring a deep breath. You might even like to switch the cross of your thumb and index finger with your interlaced hands. See if that feels different in the shoulders as you might switch legs. Bending one knee, leaning towards your straighter leg. Keep tilting forward, keep lifting the shoulders up. Now come back to your center. Stretch the arms forward for one more deep breath. Then let the arms fall, shimmy out the shoulders, and bend the knees a lot more. Engage the belly, think of hollowing it like cat-cow or cat, and start to roll up on an in-breath, stacking one vertebra at a time. Let your shoulders rise towards your ears once you lift the head. So with a deep exhalation, you can circle the shoulders behind you, flip the palms to face forward, and relax the shoulders down. Come up to the top of the mat. Bring your feet to touch. We're going to semi-flow and feel the different asanas within sun salutation B, and then we'll flow continuously. So with your feet touching, bend your knees to touch, preparing for chair pose, the first posture of it. Lean your weight towards your heels. Now, if you're looking for more rigor in this pose, you could try to graze the floor with your fingertips, then try to keep the hips that low as you raise the arms forward and up. You want to be able to see your toes from where you are because you're gliding your shin bones back. You want to feel support in your lower back, not overarching it by firming the belly in. And as you gaze straight ahead, relaxing the shoulders. Remember, you could bring the arms further forward if you feel like your shoulders are not able to relax. Let's take 2 more breaths in Utkatasana, chair pose. Remember that the drishti or gaze is really important as well for concentrating. With an exhale, bring your hands together, shift your weight forward, and bow from your hips as you straighten the legs. Forward folds. With an inhale, press the ground ahead, maybe blocks, or your shins or thighs, and stretch your spine parallel to the ground, gazing towards the tip of your nose. Pause here. Micro bend your knees if there's any tension in the lower back to eliminate it. So feel the length of your spine here. Feel the contraction of the belly as though you were in plank. Fronts of the thighs are contracted too. Take one more inhale, see if you can lean forward a little further. Then plant your hands and step into plank. Feel that same contraction in the belly, the broadening of the chest, the gazing forward. Take another inhale and plank. With an exhale, slowly glide forward. Graze the elbows towards your side ribs so the elbows bend 90 degrees on your way down. As you lower the pelvis, point the toes and firm the tops of your feet on the ground. Feel the wrists alongside your floating ribs, then contract your upper middle back to lift the chest, sliding the shoulder blades down, cobra. Take a full breath in. Tuck your toes, engage your belly to lift up, pelvis back, downward facing dog. Downward dog, keeping your 2 hips leveled. Lift from your inner right thigh. Flexing the right foot, inhale, raise the right leg behind you. As you exhale, bending the right knee towards your nose, contract the belly. Use that to softly as you can step the foot forward just inside of your right hand. Now see your feet are hips width apart. Spin the back heel down so your left toes are pointing towards the upper left corner of your mat. And bend the front knee like a lunge. Feel your 2 hips with your hands, that they're both evenly facing forward. Both soles of your feet are entirely grounded. Then press to your feet, engage the lower belly as you start to tilt your pelvic bowl upright. Lifting the arms forward and up into warrior 1. Let's stay a few breaths. So as you're bending the front knee just over the heel, plug your right thigh bone back deeper into your hip socket. As you're pressing your left outer heel downward firmly, spiral the inner side of your left thigh towards the rear of your mat. Then slightly lift your frontal hip bones. Relax the shoulders down. You might be gazing up with the palms touching if you want that kind of rigor. With an exhale, lower your hands through plank and keep going forward through Chaturanga Dandasana. Either decide to go all the way down to Cobra or flip the toes halfway down and coil up to upward facing dog. With an exhale, hollow the belly to help lift the pelvis back. Downward facing dog. Let's take a full breath here. Keeping your hips leveled, lift from your inner left thigh. Inhale, flex your left foot off the floor behind you. Slow and controlled, contract the belly as you round forward through plank, bending left knee towards your nose to softly land the foot just inside of your left hand. With your feet as wide apart as your hips, spin your right heel down, and so your right toes point towards upper right corner of your mat. Bend the front knee and bring your hands to your hips. Feel that they're both facing forward. From down through your feet, engage the lower belly to help lift your frontal hip bones and anchor the tailbone down, rising up, arms overhead. Virabhadrasana 1. So feel your fullest expression, which can vary from what you're feeling today than last day you practiced yoga, of this pose right now. As you bend the front knee just over the heel, you're drawing the left thigh bone back into the hip socket. As you firm your right outer heel into your mat, you're spinning the inner right thigh towards the back of your mat. Relaxing the shoulders as the arms are straight. You might like to add sealing your palms and gazing up. Take a deep inhale in Virabhadrasana 1. Use the entire exhale to lower from plank, forward, and down through Chaturanga, either all the way down for Cobra or halfway down to upward facing dog. Then engage your belly to help lift your sitting bones back to downward facing dog. Having finished both sides of Warrior 1, you stay a few more breaths in downward facing dog. Regathering attention to breath, synchronization of body to breath. Bend your knees a lot and lift your heels and hips high. Look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, think of lifting your pelvic floor to help you walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. Let your feet touch there. With an inhale, press with your fingertips and traction your spine as you lengthen it forward. With an exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Inhale, bend the knees to touch. Sink your weight towards your heels, reaching the arms up to chair. Press down through your feet and exhale, rise tall, joining your hands at your heart in mountain pose. So that's the slow motion version of Sun Salutation B. Let's go 2 rounds in a continuous flow. Still slow motion, led by the pace of your breath. As you get the hang of the pattern yourself, or if you already know it, feel free to go at your pace of breathing, more important than following my voice. So let your arms be down by your sides, palms facing forward, standing tall in mountain pose. Redefining your focus on your breath and intention. Inhale, bend your knees together in chair. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Step or lightly jump, exhaling through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, contract the belly, set the foot inside right hand, back heel flat. Inhale, rise into Warrior 1. Exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, use the belly to help lift the hips to downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, slow and controlled, step it forward to the left. Back heel down. Inhale, rise up into your expression of warrior one. Exhale, lower into a full vinyasa again, or tone it down with one cat-cow. Anytime you need to skip it, honor what your practice needs to be today. Meeting in downward dog, let's take a few breaths. Resetting breath and mental focus. Now with very bent knees, look in front of your hands. At the end of your exhalation, lift your pelvic floor and walk or float to the top of your mat with feet touching. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, bend your knees together, chair pose. Exhale, root down to rise tall. Last round, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sit in Utkatasana. Exhale, bow in Uttanasana. Inhale, half bow, Ardha Uttanasana. Float to Chaturanga or step to plank to lower through it. Inhale, Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step it forward, back heel down. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower through your own vinyasa. Breathing in as you lift the heart. Breathing out to arrive in downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, the foot inside of left hand, back heel down. Inhale, rise tall in Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower, your version of vinyasa or none. We'll meet in downward facing. I have no idea how your body feels right now. So as you feel it, know when to rest, when to take a child's pose, or when to keep going and play with some more challenge, finding your balance. Bend the knees, look forward, bottom of the exhale, lift the pelvic floor and lightly land at the top. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees together. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, rise up to stand. So grab blocks if you want to. Oh, actually not yet. We won't need it yet. Let's turn to face the wide width of your mat. Step in the middle and open your arms. Walk or lightly jump your feet apart so your ankles are pretty much right under your wrists. We're setting up for warrior two. So from your hips, rotate your legs and pivot both of your feet to face your left foot. So your left foot is your front leg. I'm mirroring you. Align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. As you bend the left knee just over the heel, turn out the leg from the hip so you're wrapping the sitting bone downward and aligning the middle of the kneecap with the middle toe down the midline of your mat. Now as the right leg turns in slightly, press the outside edge of it into the ground, straightening the leg as you firm the top of the right thigh bone back towards the opposite wide width of your mat. Feel your pelvic bowl sitting upright. Hips are diagonally facing that rear end of the mat as you open the arms, relax the shoulders. Those of you looking for more rigor, have a wide enough stance so that you could bend your left knee 90 degrees. Now steady your eyes to help the mental focus. Choose one spot just beyond your left hand or close your eyes. Perhaps you chant your positive affirmation, your intention in your head as we stay in this focused, enhancing posture, warrior two, for just 3 more breaths. Straighten both of your legs. Bring your hands to your hips. Rotating from your hips, pivot your feet to face the exact opposite edge of your mat. We're going right to the other side of Warrior Two. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Bend your right knee just over the ankle. If you're looking for more rigor, have a wide enough stance to make that bend 90 degrees. But counter that pressure down through the front foot with the outside edge of your back foot firming down. Feel your right sitting bone wrap under your body slightly. So you're aligning the middle of your right kneecap with your middle toe down the midline of your mat. And as you straighten the left leg, it slightly turns inward. Press the top of that thigh back towards the other wide width of your mat. Pelvic bowl upright with the lower belly slightly engaged. Reopen your arms and relax your shoulders down. How is your breathing as you steady your eyes? Allowing your attention to these adjustments in your alignment to help direct your focus here and now in your body. Let's take 3 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Now straighten both legs. Let's step up to the very top of your mat. If you have blocks that you like to use for half moon, you might want to have them on both sides at the top. Bring your feet to touch. Bend your knees to touch like chair pose. And open the elbows apart like a cactus. We're preparing for eagle pose. Take your left arm and cross it over your right arm. So left arm on top. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. As you press your shoulder blades down your back, lift your elbows to the height of your shoulders and press your forearms gently away from your face. Feel your lower abdomen draw in towards the spine as you sit a little lower. Now turn open your right leg. Flex your right foot and wrap it over your left leg. If you're able to, tuck your right toes behind your left calf and scissor your right hip slightly back to realign both hips to face forward. As you sit a little lower, feel your spine upright. Now steady your gaze. Eagle pose or any balancing poses I find are great for dropping the mind right here and now into a one-pointed focus. Let's take 3 more breaths together in Garudasana. Now we're going to continue taking flight in half moon, raising the right leg behind you about parallel to the floor. Make sure to flex the right foot as you unravel it. Bring your right hand to your right hip if you like. Reach the left hand forward and to the left of your left pinky toe on the floor or a block. As you flex the right foot, imagine you're pressing the heel against the rear wall of your room while turning your chest to completely face the right wall of your room. Feel that you're drawing your left outer hip, that's beneath you, back towards your lifted heel. Now, if your balance feels pretty stable, you might play with raising the right arm or raising your gaze, but choose one spot to steady your drishti, your gaze. Let's take about 3 more breaths. Ardha Chandrasana. Let the stillness of your body facilitate concentration in your mind. We're going to land in Warrior Two by bending the left knee and softly as you can, stepping your right foot to the rear of your mat, cartwheeling your arms open. Once there, flip your left palm to face up, keep your left knee bent, and sweep the left arm overhead towards the rear of your mat. Right hand can land lightly on your right leg, or you can wrap it behind your back for more of a chest opener for the right side of your shoulders. Let's take a couple more deep breaths here in exalted or peaceful warrior. Feel that you're still slightly engaging your lower belly so as not to arch the back. Allow it to be a lateral, a sideways stretch. Take another in-breath. Now lower your two hands to frame your left foot. Come into a high lunge once there. Pick up the right heel, separate your feet, hips width and parallel, bending the left knee over the ankle. Now place your left thumb on the crease of your left outer hip, tacking it back and sinking it down. Lift your right thigh away from the ground till your two hips feel leveled. Grow the spine forward as you inhale, then at your waistline, turn your chest to face the left wall, raising the left arm up or hooking the right elbow outside the left thigh if you want to add more leverage in your spinal twist. We're here for 5 deep, focused breaths. Feel that while you're focusing on one thing, like maybe you're breathing, there is a lightness to that focus, that balance of effort with allowing. Look down at your left foot, lower your two hands, step back to downward dog or plank if you want to flow at your own pace of breath. When you arrive in downward dog, take any releasing breath if needed, like a big sigh, nice and loud, or lion's breath, sticking out the tongue with the mouth and eyes wide, or fluttering the lips. Otherwise, re-engage with that steady sound of Ujjayi Pranayama. As you're ready, bend the knees and look forward. At the end of your exhale, empty the breath, lift the pelvic floor, float or walk to the top. Let your feet touch. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Let the knees touch. Sit in chair, and then bend your elbows apart like a cactus shape. So this time, wrap the right elbow over the left. Either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. Sliding your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Lift your elbows towards the height of your shoulders and gently press your forearms away from your face. As you steady your gaze, see if you can sit a little lower and feel the lower belly engage. Shift your weight onto your right foot and turn out your left leg at the hip. Flex your left foot as you lift it off the ground and wrap it over the right leg. Stay there or tuck the toes behind the right calf and scissor the left hip slightly back. As both hips face forward, see if you might be able to sit a little lower, keeping the spine upright. Eyes steady. Mind and body steady. In Garudasana for the last 2 breaths. Preparing for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, visualize before moving, you extending your left leg parallel to the floor behind you with a foot flexed. Chest turns to face your left wall. Begin to unravel the left leg when you're ready. Flex the foot, press back through the back wall, and reach the right hand to the floor block, upper right corner from your right pinky toe. Left hand could be on your left hip to help with this transition, or raise the left arm if you feel pretty stable. Now feel that you're turning your right outer hip back, or you're drawing it back towards your lifted left heel, creating space in the right hip joint, right lower back, right side of the torso. As you lengthen the side of the neck, chest is wide open, facing the left wall. so that you could feel your left shoulder stack above the right shoulder and right wrist. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Steady your eyes on one point. Preparing for warrior 2. Bend your right knee. Softly as you can, land left foot at the rear of your mat, arms wide open, Virabhadrasana 2. Once there, flip the right palm to face up. Keep the right knee bent. Lift the sides of your waist and lean towards the rear of your mat in exalted or peaceful warrior. Now the left hand can land on your left leg, or if you did that chest opening variation, you could wrap the left arm behind your back. Draw the navel towards the spine. Breathe length down the right side of your waist for 2 more breaths.
And imagine the divine's love.
Now with an exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the floor. Either lower through 1 more vinyasa, hold plank or forearm plank, or go straight to downward facing dog. Anything else you want to do instead, feel free.
Love that is stored within the divine's heart. That love.
Few breaths when you arrive in downward facing.
Divine breath from the heart.
So let's prepare for 1 round of dolphin pose. Now you could start with your knees on the floor or start right away from downward dog, which is a bit more challenging if you're looking for that. To start from downward dog, you want to simultaneously and slowly lower both elbows, shoulders width apart on the floor, then balancing on your forearms. Keep the forearms parallel or interlaced fingers. To start with the knees down, start there, then place the elbows on the floor and either interlace the fingers or keep the forearms parallel. Let's take 5 more breaths. You could bring the feet together, you could walk them forward, you could lift one leg, keeping the hips squared, flexing the lifted foot, and then switch. Make sure that your shoulders are not coming forward of your elbows. You're pressing your chest actively back while drawing your belly inward towards your spine, lifting the shoulders high away from your neck. So your head is not bearing any of your weight. It's either hanging freely or you're looking forward, which is more actively opening the front of your shoulders.
That love.
When you decide you've had enough, we're going to enter forearm plank. Walking the feet back, keep the elbows shoulders width until your spine is parallel to the floor, gazing past your thumbs. Let's hold for at least 3 breaths. Now you can bring the feet to touch and lift one foot to hover a breath or 2. And keep the 2 hips level. Try not to sway them as you switch legs, hovering the left flex foot an inch or 2. Keep drawing the shoulder blades apart and back away from the neck. And then when you decide to end your forearm plank, fun, you can lower your pelvis to the ground into Sphinx.
Transforms within.
Take a couple breaths in Sphinx. It might be an opportune time for lion's breath, a little cooling off. Draw the shoulder heads behind you. Press the shoulder blades down. Elongate your tailbone actively towards the ground between your heels. Press the tops of your feet back so much that your knees are actually not resting on the floor while you straighten your legs here. Now keep that activity in your legs and reach your arms back, palms facing the ground. Lift the legs up. You're now in locust pose. You could stay here, our first of 2 last back bends, or open the arms wide and from the shoulders, turn the palms to face more forward, or reach the arms forward if you're looking for more core activity in the back muscles. Upper arms alongside the ears, palms facing each other, feet parallel as you press the heels back. When you finish, at least 2 more breaths, maybe longer. Lower everything to the ground and take rest for our last back bend. Active back bend. So last one, setting up, is Dhanurasana bow. If you have lower back issues that you need to modify for, do the same posture we just did. Arms back or open in locust pose. Preparing for bow, slide your knees close together. Bend them and press your pubic bone into the ground. With your hands, catch your outer feet. Kick your legs back as you pull your feet. Feel your knees rise away from the ground, not splaying wider than hips width. As you coil the chest up from right under the shoulder blades, look slightly down ahead. Press the shoulder heads down and feel expansion at your chest. You might even choose to breathe into your belly here, as this posture helps to stimulate your digestive organs there, besides opening the fronts of your shoulders. So when you finish 5 to 10 deep breaths here in Dhanurasana, bow pose, let everything go and take rest for a few breaths. As you rest, you might like to shimmy the hips side to side or windshield wiper your shins together, left and right, to help feel ease in your lower back. Set your right ear to the floor and slide your right arm straight out to the right with a palm face down. With the left hand beside your left shoulder pressing the ground, begin to roll over and lean on your right hip. Now, as you put more weight on that inner right shoulder, slide the shoulder blade further down your back. If your head needs something to rest on, use your block or whatever you have nearby. If you're not feeling much of a stretch in that inner right shoulder and want more, you could step the left foot on the ground behind you, bending the left knee towards the sky, and or wrap the left arm behind, and or also bend the right knee and step the right foot on the ground, as though your legs were preparing for bridge, but you're in a twist. Let's take 3 more deep breaths in, slow breaths out. Feel your jawline relax from behind the ears to the bottom of your chin. At the end of this exhalation, gently roll onto your belly again. Take your time switching sides. You might even like to pause at neutral at center for a moment and just feel the difference. Lowering your left ear towards the ground, slide your left arm straight out to the left so the palm is aligned with your shoulder and face down. With your right hand pressing the ground beside your right shoulder, roll gently onto your left hip. Soften your left shoulder away from your neck. Really tune in. Notice when the mind wants to anticipate how deep to go versus when the body is telling you moment by moment. If depth is needed in the shoulder stretch, step your right foot back outside of your mat and bend your right knee towards the sky. And or wrap the right arm behind you. And or bend the left knee and step the foot on the ground. Let's take 3 more fully conscious breaths. At the end of your exhale, roll onto your stomach. Place your hands back beside your lowest ribs. Gently slide into child's pose, bringing your feet together. Feel free to have the knees together or as wide apart as needed. And let your pelvis drop all the way down towards your feet. Now do lengthen the arms actively forward so that you're stretching into the back, especially the lower spine. Just 3 more breaths. Keep broadening the shoulder blades across your back ribs and sliding them back as you lengthen the neck. Take a full breath and fill up your belly and lungs. With a loud sigh, open the mouth.
Walk your hands beside your knees and tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, slowly roll your spine upright.
As you come to sit, bring your feet together in front of you for a gentle hip opener, Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. As your heels are close to your pelvis, take hold of your outer feet or your big toes and press down to your sitting bones, lifting your heart, lifting your crown. Feel the shoulders at ease and slightly behind you as you extend your heart forward, exhaling to bow. You might even like to walk the hands forward as you help press your sitting bones deeper into the earth. Elongate your lower spine, your middle spine, and out through your chest. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Bound angle pose. Lead with your chest, and with an inhale, slowly lift your spine. Now find a comfortable seat for a relaxing breath work of Durga Pranayama, 3-part breath. We'll take that before Shavasana. Sitting tall, place your hands in your belly to start and close your eyes. Take a deep inhale and expand your belly. Hold the breath in, keeping the body relaxed and upright. Exhale slowly through your nose. Feel the belly hollow. Hold the breath out. Place your hands on the left and right walls of your ribs. Breathe into there slowly, then hold at the top. Exhaling through your nose. Hold the breath at the bottom. Then place your hands on your chest. Breathe to the top of your chest. As you hold the breath, keeping the body relaxed, stay upright. Exhale through the nose and hold the breath out. Now relax the breath for a moment, placing your left hand on your chest, your right hand on your lower belly. We're going to divide the inhalation into thirds. 1/3 into the belly, 1/3 into the side ribs, 1/3 into the chest, then we'll hold. After that, we'll exhale through the nose and hold the breath out. That's 1 cycle. Let's do a few together. Exhale this breath, hold it out. Into your belly, 1/3 inhale. Into your side ribs, 1/3 inhale. Into your chest, 1/3 inhale. Hold the breath in, relax. Exhale completely through your nose. Hold the breath out. Again, 1/3 inhale belly. 1/3 inhale side ribs. 1/3 inhale chest. Hold, relax, sit tall. Exhale everything. Hold at the bottom. Try 1 more cycle on your own. When you finish holding the breath out, relax to a natural pace of breathing. You might like to keep your eyes closed as you slowly make your way into your final resting pose. A few minutes in Shavasana. As your eyes remain closed, feel the gentle rise and fall of your natural breath. And begin to softly rub your fingertips together, stretch your toes, your feet, maybe turn the head gently. Ease into whatever stretch helps to wake your body up kindly. And whether you choose to rock forward with knees bent or turn over to your right side, lift your body slowly upright into a comfortable seat, finding your object for Trataka, gazing meditation, for 2 minutes. Place that object just in front of you. If you can, just slightly below eye level. If you have something to prop it up on. Hands can be resting on your lap. So as you sit tall and continue to breathe naturally, let's begin with a very soft gaze. The eyelids not completely open. Steadying your gaze on the object in front of you. Feel the muscles around your eyes relax as your breath eases in and out. If you're tired in the eyes, you could close the eyes momentarily and see if you can see the image with your eyes closed. You might experiment with the eyes closed anyways, seeing the image mentally. And if the image disappears in your mind, softly open the eyelids slightly and return to that steady gaze on the object. Let's feel a deeper breath, lift the heart space, joining your hands to meet at your heart as you bow in, closing our practice together. So Dharana, the act of concentrating, mental practice. How do we bring that into our daily lives and make it a meaningful practice? Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.